back to another episode of everyone's favorite pitch practice, the show. What's up, everybody?
Good Wednesday morning. I had to think of what day it was.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Double
I,
check,
I
Brandon.
think it's Wednesday. I mean, last week I woke up on Tuesday and thought it was Saturday. So, it's been a rough couple weeks.
uh, Brandon, BKX Square Marketing. Uh, and who else do we have with us today?
Critic Morales.
Critic.
I was teasing Mark about his background.
Why?
So
Oh no!
why
Uh,
why
no, I
you
like
know
that. I like
being
that.
just being a nitpicky sister, you know, a younger sister of trying to tell my older brothers what to do, and I always remember that never works out for me.
it's not it's not critiquing, it's feedback. It's feedback. And
That's
and uh,
right.
and your feedback is appreciated. Yes.
Oh, yeah,
What's
no,
up?
it's good. What's up? What's up? What's up? Let's kick it
What's
off. We
what's
we
up,
finished
man?
the book. We finished the book.
We're putting the final touches on the closer survival guide. It seems like we've been on this book for just a couple of weeks now, but
A couple of weeks, couple
Couple
of
months.
months. People's probably tired of us talking about the closes. Get something else going.
Hey, but we went from closer survival guide to talking about Grant Cardone. So I think we're gonna have to make this a no Cardone zone for a while.
That's fine with me.
but okay, so that was great though. When we look back, it's been a great introduction for me into to Grant's world, because I'd never been in just engulfed in his content or his material or the things that he's been writing for so long. But in we're going to go over, I guess, the final closes that we went over today during our session, and I just want to leave some some final thoughts of my formal introduction to the man they call Uncle. What do they call him? Uncle P?
Uncle G.
Uncle G.
Uncle G.
Uncle G. Well, let me ask you guys, when you what was your first introduction to him like? And that made you continue to follow him, Brandon?
Well, for me being in the automotive space since 2011, my uncle actually worked in Cardone Automotive as a sales trainer. So I did have a little bit of an introduction, but I was too young and dumb to realize what it was. Because I thought it was just some kind of slick used car salesman. That wasn't the personality that I was going for when I sold cars. So I mean, it was a couple years down the road that I ended up moving to Ohio and all that stuff and doing cancer insurance door to door. And like I had some good closes. I had about five or six in the toolbox there to use to get people to sign up for cancer insurance. But I just felt like a robot saying them over and over again. Like there was no passion or heart in there, and it just felt awkward with the conversation. So I'd Googled sales closes, and the closer survival guide was the first thing that popped up,
Uh-uh.
and it was Grant's book funnel that popped up as like one of the first searches. So I looked at it, and he said it was free, pay for shipping $7 or something like that, $10 for shipping. I don't know. So I got it, read it, and then I was in his world and ecosystem. I kept getting all the emails, and then talking about mentors and all that kind of stuff. So then went to the mentorship program that led up to GrowthCon, went to GrowthCon, and then Cardone U, and ever since then, just been kind of dabbling in that. And um, and just watch and follow what he's done. And even in the three years or so that I've been more heads down in it, he's really has grown out a lot exponentially from where he was. I mean, I think, 2019, 2020 was like a springboard event for him.
Mm.
For these past 3 years, he's really grown and expanded his companies for what he's doing, real estate wise, to TV and helping people build businesses out and all that kind of good stuff.
Oh, that stuff. Huh? Okay. Okay. I just before you go, Laura, I just want to say that I've I've learned from him a lot of mindset stuff, a lot of high level, like get out there, get your butt up, go out there and do it. If you're not first, you're last. You need to either sell or be sold. But then I've also, by following him, I've learned from just watching him. And you make that point about you started getting his emails and you started getting into his world. That's something that I've watched him do, and that is his consistent presence. His consistent presence that is going to make you either love him or hate him. And
Yeah,
and he
I get
and he
I
takes
get
it.
5 emails a day from him. Yeah.
And he's gonna take you there. He's gonna take you one way or the other, right? So so
Yeah,
that
I get about 4 or 5 emails a day from Grant. A day.
and what does he say? What's the list? What's the list for? What's the list for?
To hit it. Hit the list.
Hit the list. Hit the list. They tell me I'm sending too many emails. What am I gonna do? You're on
Send
mute.
more.
You're on mute. You're on mute, Laura. You're on
I'm
mute.
gonna hit the list. I'm gonna hit the list.
I saw you talking. All right, go ahead.
For me, I think for me it's like, I did a couple things when I was younger in my 20s, and I just needed to get good at something. And I'm like, okay, what's gonna be my something? And then I stumble upon Grant, and he's like, anybody could be a great salesperson. I'm like, what is that?
Oh, really?
I was like, what does that even mean?
So let me ask you, Laura, what did you do before franchise sales? Well, before you were in sales?
Before I was in sales, like in my early 20s, I don't know. I was a little lost. I was, I graduated top of my class in college. I went off and I taught for a program in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I taught third grade. Needless to say, I wasn't
You
good.
were a teacher? You were a
Well,
teacher?
I wasn't a good one. I didn't realize kids didn't listen because I'd never been around kids. So then I show up, right? And I'm like, all right, here's the plan, guys. Here's how we're gonna do. Throwing things, and I'm like, oh, um, I don't get this. Why won't they listen to me? So anyway, long story short, I was like, okay, this is not my career. So I started reading. I started reading, and I'm like, I gotta land on something. I gotta find I gotta like find my groove in something. Long story short, I ended up
Mhm.
reading a magazine called Fast Company. I used to religiously read that magazine.
Oh, I
Always,
know that.
always reading, and I was reading, and I
Mhm.
started learning about startups. And I'm like, what's a startup? I started learning about startups. Long story short, sent a couple emails, couple whatever, from talking to one person on a couple of emails, text. They said, "Hey, you should come and try working for me at my company that I just kicked off in Boston." And I'm like, "Okay." So from night to day, I moved to Boston. Long story short, there is where I started thinking about startups, learning about startups, immersing myself in that. And then I ended up in the automotive space, but in the startup face of it. And that's
Ah,
how I landed in the automotive space and startups in the automotive space.
ah,
And eventually, that's when I started understanding how to structure a business. But obviously, I always read. And then one year, I got into um, who's that guy? Evan Carmichael on YouTube. And
oh yeah.
he had this mentor me serious, right? He had this mentor me serious on YouTube. And one of those videos was mentor me Grant. And I
Mm,
listened to it, listened to it. And all of a sudden I was like, how is this guy real? How is what he's saying real? And
really?
I just started really going into it. And I so got into it. That was maybe 6, 7 years ago.
Mm,
And I totally changed my life because it started making me realize that if I had big dreams and if I learned to become a salesperson, that it is something I could train on every day. It's something I could get good at. And that's kind of how that led me to franchise sales and to high ticket items and to, it does start with the mindset of you got to make a difference. It's not just about the money. You got to figure out how do you make a difference. And my whole thing is great. I want to, fundraise over $10 million for immigrant students every year. Give a lot of it to charity, a lot of my commissions to charity. Great.
mm.
How do I go big in that plan? Right? It requires enormous amount of sales, and enormous amount of showing up every day. So that's really what Grant's taught me, and I do it every day.
Wow, that's interesting. I was kind of just the opposite because I wanted to run away from sales as far as I could. And I think when you find, I talk to some people, and some people will say that I could never see myself working for a commission only position, you know, a commission only position. And for me, uh, yeah. What about you, Brandon? It was tough for me because I sucked at sales. I absolutely sucked at sales. But you know what? It it was my fault. It was my fault because I didn't understand that. I think I was kind of like Grant. I was kind of like Grant. I was he remember how he sucked at sales for a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
until he realized that it was my fault, and that I could actually do something about it, and that it was, it wasn't, they weren't rejecting me, they were rejecting, uh just, I didn't know. I didn't know, but I
Mm-hmm.
could get better at it. And that's why I wanted to get away from sales as far as I could. I was not I didn't like it, and I sucked at it. But it's interesting how I ended up really embracing it after all of that, though.
Yeah, working for 100% commission really lights a fire under your butt because if you don't produce, you don't eat.
Yeah.
So, um, the salary is nice. It's a nice safety net, but once you get that nice safety net, like it removes all sense of urgency from your system. If you don't have that sense of urgency, you'll always be complacent. Oh, I got something coming in. I don't need to do anything else type mental and attitude. Um, and it can be a grind, 100% a grind. And some grinds, you can if the money's good enough, you'll do it. And I know you shouldn't always chase the money, but you need the money as the tool to survive. Like money is survival, right? So
Oh yeah.
when it came to the cancer insurance sales, lifestyle wise, if I was out of college, sure, I'd probably still be doing it because I wouldn't have had as much uh, burden. I wouldn't say burden, stress of
Hmm.
I gotta produce type deal. I can go into it with a little bit more mental clarity and not be so
Under.
what's the word? Desperate, I guess, to make a sale. Because I got
Okay.
three other mouths to feed, and when you sweat desperation to make a sale, people realize this and they don't end up buying, right? So, um, yeah, so I would probably still been doing it, and um, earning my residuals and be out of it and into something else. Because after 5 years, you're vested in everything you sell. You get the annual residuals off of it, which would be nice, a couple grand a month, and then have that net to focus on something else and earn more commission. So I think working for commission is actually the best way to earn a living. Sure,
Yeah.
salaries are nice, but they are limited. You're on a fixed
Mm-hmm.
income with a salary, and there's nothing
Mm-hmm.
else that you can do to increase that unless you go ask for a raise. And we all know how that typically goes, unless you're good at sales and you got the closer survival guide to get that raise. So yeah.
Yeah,
So if there's any
there's always
career
about,
anybody
yeah.
get
Go
into
ahead,
out
Brandon.
of college is find a commissioned only sales career and
Yeah.
be ready to start grinding it out and make your living.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's something special about getting to see your skill increase and see your sales increase, right? And there's something special about having those 40, 50,000 months, right? Because all this stuff starts showing up, all your training starts showing up in the bank account. So with that, Mark, I'm ready for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I just think this is perfect because we're wrapping it up we're wrapping up our sales book. And you know, our next book we've I'll let have we announced it before or because I
Nope.
know we've talked about it, but have we actually officially announced it before? Do you know? Do you remember?
No, we have not announced what we're reading next.
Okay, I'll give you the honors of making that announcement since it was your choice, Brandon, right?
It was my choice, yeah, because I think it's great for all three of us to kind of dive into. We got the close side down. We started with the end in mind here, so to speak, on working the closes. Now we're going back to the beginning, so to speak, and working on the offer. So we'll be reading $100 million offers from Alex Hormozy. Feel free to get that from Amazon Kindle for $1. It's the only thing
Mm-hmm.
that he sells. Or you can get the audiobook if you have the Audible credits there. Definitely worth the listen and read side by side. That's what I've done lately. So, yeah, $100 million offers from Alex Hormozy.
Right, right. Yeah, we did because we did the traffic, we did closing, and the next book we are reading is going to focus on offers, practicing offers. All right, all right. Uh, so for our final just putting wraps on this, we went over some a few closes. Let's just go over a few of those closes that we talked about. One of them was the copy close. This is the close that, and I kind of like this one too, where if someone says that I want a copy of it, right? I want to see copies to take with me. And I think there were really kind of these two closes that were similar. You make a copy and then you come back, and before you even hand them the copy, you say, okay, basically, if you're asking for a copy, maybe I still haven't addressed something. What's not right? How would you use this close before, Brandon?
All the time, all the time. I mean, this is the classic auto close deal. You're sitting there at the table and the buyer's like hemming and hawing, hesitant about it. And it's the polite way of them saying no, in the sense that this just isn't the deal. It's like, let me make a copy, or let me get a copy of that to think about it. And what they're doing is they're taking that and then they're going down to the other Ford dealership across town and saying, you know, Jim Bob Ford is going to sell me this same truck for X. Can you beat it?
Mm,
Sure, anybody can beat anybody by $100. So if you're a car guy, this is the close that you need to master so you don't give them the ammo to go buy from somewhere else. Going back to him and saying, sure, I'd be happy to make you a copy, but if it was if this deal was right, I wouldn't be making you a copy of the paperwork. You'd be signing the delivery checklist. What's keeping us from you signing the delivery checklist? And then the one right after that is very similar in the sense that, sure, I can make you a copy of this, but you're just going to take it home and throw it on the kitchen table with about 100 other pieces of mail that you already got that you're never ever going to look at. So, what do we say to me, not killing any trees with this piece of paper, and figure out what the deal is here, and get you in a new car. So, learn to close, guys, and one, save trees, and two, make more deals.
Yeah, let's handle this right now, and you can get your kitchen tables straightened out, so you don't want to add even more to what's already there. If I could, I can't. Yeah, I think that this is a close that can be used in that type of situation. Awesome. We had a couple more closes that we did to wrap it up. You got your book, Laura? You're on
I
mute.
got my book right here.
All right. Help us out.
Yeah, I think the one that I like the most, and I'm kind of skipping over here, but the one that I like the most that we talked about today, it's actually the summary one. Here's why, okay? Because when I present something, I have to, it's my sales funnel is a little bit different than anybody else's that's on the call. Here's why. Mine requires a lot of legalities, and it might take me 30, 60, 6 months for somebody to make a decision, because it's a little more complicated of getting the funding and all that stuff, right? It's a franchise sale. See, here's another thing that I've started to make sure I started doing. In the franchise space, we never consider something a sale. We consider something an award. You, the buyer, have to earn it. So I really started introducing myself. Like, okay, thanks for taking the call. My name is Laura. My intention is to help you get approved and awarded the territories that you're interested in. So I started flipping that conversation. And when I'm having these calls, right, you have to have several, sometimes over 10 hours to explain somebody the business. I started telling people, great, I've gotten you approved for X, Y, and Z, and we're going to award you X, Y, and Z. Are you ready to accept your award?
That's great.
Are you ready to accept your award? Right? As opposed to, are you ready to buy?
Yeah. It changes the frame.
Yeah. Are you ready to accept the duties and responsibilities and the honor of a lifetime to be awarded a franchise?
Why, yes.
So anyway, the reason I like the summary close is actually, I just remember I'm going to start using this a little more, because I can actually use this very strategically with the couple last end conversations that I can have with somebody, right? It's like, because the summary close is, Henry, let me remind you of what you get here. Full library of this, copy of the audiobook, complete video, all workbooks, blah, blah, blah. And I can list all the reasons that they told me at the beginning why they wanted to do this.
Yeah.
And then and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to list all the reasons why they wanted to do this, right? Hey, you wanted to have an investment opportunity that was hands off. Check. It covers that. You wanted to have a solution that included a sales and marketing team because you didn't want to worry about sales and marketing. Check. This was an investment that was less than $100,000. Check. This was an investment that was a passion project as well. Check. This is an investment that you said your daughter at some point would get interested in. Check. Now I need you to be ready to commit to the experience and to accept your award on X and Y and Z date. That is when the contract is going to be sent out. And then what I'm going to do is One thing that I've started learning to do better is
Hmm.
stop effing talking.
Stop
Just
talking.
yes,
Stop talking.
Yeah,
Best
yeah,
close ever. Just stop talking.
that's a skill.
such a skill. It's such a skill. So,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna be like there, and I'm just gonna look at somebody in the space, and people are like, "Are you waiting on me for a reply?" I'm like, "Yes, correct."
interesting. They say that to be a great salesman, you need to have the gift of gab, but really, you need to have the gift of listening.
Yeah, the gift of listening and the gift of just stop talking in that awkward pause and those awkward silences do help you.
Yeah, 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 yeah. They say the person that speaks first, if you
Loses.
can, yeah, yeah. The person that speaks first is. Oh, well, let's not say. Well, you want it to be a win-win situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do.
Person that speaks first loses. That's the saying. Can't sugarcoat it. When you're sitting across table, you do the negotiation, you present the offer, you shut up. First person that speaks
Yep.
loses. Because you win if they start hemming and hawing because it's going to start bringing out the objections on why they don't want to do it, and then you continue to work that. So you never want to speak first again after the offer is presented. You just say the numbers and shut up. That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Just zip it.
Just shut up. Exactly. Like stop talking, start closing. And a lot of that is just shut up. You don't need to sell anymore. You just
Yeah.
need to go for the close.
Yeah. Yeah. Have I given you enough for you to make a decision? That's the $1 billion close right there.
Yeah. And I have found that in my industry, that question is a little too open-ended that I don't say that because here's what happens, okay? Somebody does have to take a very much a leap of faith. So what I've started saying is you have all the information to make a decision, right? 150 people before you made a decision based on this process, right? Now we're going to closing on X, Y, and Z. Are you ready to join?
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome
It's
insights,
it
Laura. Awesome
yeah,
insights.
and that's why exactly like why you train, right? Because then you go and test these things out and sometimes you just I had to take a call that one of my the owner of the company called me and said like you need to call the guy back and you need to tell him, listen, I was thinking back about what I told you and you don't need to do that. I need an answer now. It's a yes or a no. There's no need to think about this anymore. It's a yes or a no. I couldn't stomach calling the guy back. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was
Really?
I was like I wanted to throw up because I was so nervous. So that's exactly why you have to practice because some of these calls they seem so simple, but there's layers of emotional complexity added to it because you're invested in it, they're invested in it. You don't want to be rude, and now all of a sudden you're overthinking things. So this is absolutely a muscle.
Yeah. Yeah. That you can actually exercise and make it
Yeah,
stronger. That is
correct.
absolutely right. That's why I love it. That's why I love it. We're leaving this week with some good some good information, and we'll be ready to start on our offer path in just another 7 days. So just final words, wrapping up the book, the Closer Survival Guide. As he said, stop losing, start closing the deal. And I always remember that amateurs do it until they get it right, and professionals do it until they can't get it
Can't get
wrong.
it wrong. Stop
Yes.
trying. Stop trying. Start training.
Final words, Brandon. Seems like
Now,
time just flew by today.
it has. It was a great conversation with everybody today. Not just final words. Keep learning. Learn as much as you can, and then start doing. Because you can read all you want, but if you don't take the action on what you read and implement, it doesn't it doesn't mean squat. It really doesn't. You can find that in
Correct.
pretty much every self-help book, including the Bible there, where it says, if you don't do what you know what to do,
Yep.
then it's a
Guys,
sin.
my
So,
manager's calling me. I'll see you next week.
All
okay.
right.
See you
We're
later.
gonna say goodbye. So, all right. See you later next week.
See you.
Bye. All righty. All right.